Hi folks, and welcome to the page. I'm Ken Smith, and today's video is a photographic collection that I took of the Shelby American Collection Car Museum, which is located in Boulder, Colorado. Now, I got to tell you, this is a must-see for any Shelby or Ford or historical racing car enthusiast. Now, what makes this museum so unique is that it's actually kind of located in a warehouse district, if you will, just on the outskirts of Boulder, Colorado. And it's only open one day a week, and that's on Saturdays. According to the website, the museum is dedicated to the legacy of Carroll Shelby and the Shelby American team. The Shelby American Collection celebrates the rich history of the world's most famous racing cars. The unparalleled, one-of-a-kind nonprofit museum is committed to serving as a resource for enthusiasts, collectors, history buffs, just about anyone interested in the 1960s automotive muscle car renaissance with its incredible array of drivers, visionaries, and racing timeless works of art. These photos kind of show an overall view of what the museum looks like when you walk in. Now, the museum is not very large in and of itself, but the collection is exceptionally rich, not only with very rare and unique cars, but also artifacts. During this pictorial video, I will post the name of the vehicle and the serial number when applicable, just so that you can get a little bit of information about each car. Now, the pictures that you're seeing right now, as I stated earlier, are just an overall of what the museum really looks like. It's rare anytime you see anything related with Carroll Shelby when it comes to a vehicle, but this is probably one of the rarest. This beautiful Ferrari was actually raced by Carroll Shelby. As you're viewing the photographs that I've captured, I would like to mention that the museum is always revolving its inventory, and so photos of cars that I may have captured when I visited the museum, those cars may no longer be there. Conversely, there are cars that are at the museum that I did not get a chance to photograph because they were not there. So it's really important to make sure that you stop by and visit the museum and see its current display. Since 1966, the Shelby American Collection Historic Car Museum has been open to the public. It was started by several Shelby American enthusiasts who lived in Boulder and the surrounding areas. Carroll Shelby himself was involved in the museum until his passing in 2012. The entire collection is volunteer-run nonprofit organization and is open every Saturday. Their museum is comprised of the most historically significant Shelby race Cobras, Ford GTs, and GT40s in the world, featuring many vehicles from the Miller Family Automobile Foundation, as well as other various private collectors. If you're shocked to think that a 1963 Ford Falcon sedan delivery belongs in a Shelby American Collection, think again. I encourage you to freeze the frame, read this. It's a quick read, and it's worth taking a good look at. This 1963 Shelby Cobra was actually originally built for a street car and actually not for racing, and it wasn't until it was purchased again in 1977 that it was eventually converted into a competition car. The Slalom Snake, or Slalom Special as it was first known, was marketed by Shelby American as a street Cobra fitted with the appropriate options for autocrossing. At least two such cars were built in late 1964, placing them among the last 100 289 Roadsters. Since the introduction of the more powerful coil-sprung 427 model was no secret to potential Cobra buyers at that time, 289s were not exactly flying out of the Ford showrooms. In fact, many of these late cars were traded between dealers. To Shelby American, the slick-sounding Slalom Snake tag seems to have been a clever bit of niche marketing. In 1996, during a vintage race in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, the car suffered serious front damage. Instead of replacing the mangled and crushed aluminum, the original body was reshaped and refabricated. Since the Cobra Roadster's aerodynamic drag limited its top speed, Shelby knew that he needed a slicker car, a coupe, to win on European tracks. The FIA allowed special bodies on any chassis, of which at least 100 examples would be sold. Cobra Roadster sales had already exceeded 250, so here lay Shelby's opportunity. This 1964 Daytona coupe is one of only 6 coupes ever built. Probably even more brought to life from the recent movie Ford versus Ferrari. Talented mechanic and standout driver Ken Miles was born in Britain. He raced motorcycles and cars in his home country, but is best known for his career with American racing teams. In 1953, he won 14 straight SCCA victories shortly after he moved to the U.S. Commonly known as the Ken Miles car, this CSX 2431 Cobra was raced almost exclusively by Miles. After a series of other owners and incomplete attempts at restoration, the Ken Miles Cobra was acquired in 1992 by Colorado resident Tom Benjamin, and sympathetically returned to its 6465 form by Bill Murray. In memory of Ken Miles, they added British Racing Driving Club logos on the doors, just as Miles himself had proudly done back in 1964. When I visited the museum several years ago and photographed the cars that were there, I was told that a lot of the inventory constantly rotates in and out. A lot of the car owners change their displays or move cars out, and obviously some of these cars are still being raced. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find out any information on this 427 Cobra Roadster. So if you do know something about it, I'd love to hear from you. Throw something in the comments about this beautiful car, and not only would I appreciate it, but I'm sure a lot of other viewers would appreciate it too. After Le Mans in 1966, Ford realized that the MK2 was reaching the end of its competitive life. It was heavy and its aerodynamics were certainly compromised. The decision was made to return to Le Mans with an all-new car incorporating the latest technology with almost no regard to cost. To win Le Mans with an all-American car, Ford was willing to spend whatever was necessary for the best designers, equipment, drivers, and crew. Because this new racer was designed to comply with Appendix J of the FIA's regulations, it was known as the J car. This would be the final, most advanced version of the GT40. One of the drivers of this car was Mario Andretti. This is not your typical grocery go-getter car. Now, while it's not a Shelby vehicle, it is a 427R factory car that has the same engine that Shelby was actually using in his cars. And I found that kind of interesting that this was actually here at the museum. There really is no way of saying exactly how rare this car is other than for you to read the sheet. But believe it or not, this was a barn find, according to the museum representative when I was there. It has since been restored, but it sat in the Mexican desert for many, many years before being found. That wraps up our video. Hey, remember to give us a like and subscribe, but more than anything else, be blessed.